Hey everyone, it's Chris, MTGO's Rec Start, and we are here to take a look at the Esper Sliver deck. In light of some of the new slivers that came out, I thought it would be interesting to brew up a couple of sliver decks, and this is the Esper one, and this is just the first pass on this. But I'll go ahead and show you. This is very, very cookie cutter, I suppose, at this point, other than some of the new slivers being inserted. I've got the Gale Rider Sliver, which is the new 1-mana replacement for Winged Sliver. I have Sinew Sliver here as my Lord pumping all my other guys. And I've got Crystalline Sliver and Hibernation Sliver. Crystalline Sliver is traditionally when people talk about why would you play Slivers instead of, say, Merfolk, which have a much more stable mana base, giving all your guys Shroud is extremely powerful, and it can't be burst like Kira, which sometimes is used out of the board in Merfolk decks. You can hit her with a Karakas and then a removal spell or something like that. I mean, Crystalline Sliver is just Shroud. Now, obviously, that makes it a little harder to use things like Umezawa's Jite, so I have to keep that in mind. Also, Hibernation Sliver, I thought would be good. This guy was better when damage went on the stack, but I think that the ability to bounce back to hand and save some portion of your field in response to your opponent, say, terminusing the board would be very valuable. And also you have to remember that, again, having this Shroud or this ability to bounce back to the hand seems much better against Abrupt Decay and all those bug control decks that are running around than Merfolk having counter magic. Again, I've got my suite of all that counter magic that Merfolk do as well, but I thought that this was a lot better inherently than running out your Lord and then hoping to be able to protect with counter magic in this new age of Abrupt Decay. Siphon Sliver is one that I wanted to try. It seemed if you had a nice board presence out that this guy could really swing life totals, make any kind of racing situation a nightmare. Now, the only reason I've got the full, I probably should just have 3 here because it's obviously it's not good in multiples, so I would normally think to play 3 and then hope to get him into brainstorms. But I'm going to try to run this in some legacy 2-mans if I can find any that fire, and I am expecting a number of like budget aggro decks in there. I haven't been in there for a while, but that's what I've seen when I've watched some in stream recently. So if I just jam 4 of these guys, I feel like I got some game against bug and I got some game against like budget aggro decks. I've gone ahead and kept the Days Force of Will counter magic package, and I kept the cantrips. Sometimes the Merfolk decks don't run those, but I thought that I really wanted to run those here. Smooth out the mana since I'm only using 20. And I had to abandon my plan of running a couple of Mutafaults since I wanted to keep enough islands for one to actually run Days, and then I just was a little too worried about having that many colorless lands in play. You could go another way with this and just jam this full of creatures, and then maybe get there. The Cavernous Souls is nice for that. It obviously can't cast a Brainstorm, but I wanted to keep the full complement of Wastelands, and so the rest of this mana just kind of fell into place along those lines. Swords to Plowshares seemed obvious, and against creatureless decks, I can board that fella out and bring in Spell Pierces, Canoness, something like that to disrupt them. And of course, 4 Aether Vials. Aether Vial is what makes these kind of decks really hum, since it frees up all of your other mana. You can really park it on 2 and churn out any of these guys. Again, not quite as much as I could have gone with a different build, and I think the Bant build would be more heavily slanted on 2 drops even than this is. But anyways, Aether Vial very good in allowing me to use my lands for things like Wasteland and still be able to develop my board. Holding up magic for reacting Sword Splashers, things like that. So again, general idea there. The sideboard, again, because I was kind of expecting a wide open field here. A couple of the trusty Chills, they're back in, and some Engineered Plague, which would not only be good against goblins, but would also be good against some of the green-white Hate Bear Maverick type decks, naming human. And again, the Spell Pierces and Canoness, as aforementioned, for combo decks of various stripes. And a couple of disenchants here, just to handle anything that I wasn't expecting. Have an answer to an ensnaring bridge, for instance, or what have you. And of course, I had to go with the art here of Hannah ripping apart a sliver. Seemed appropriate. So, anyways, that's the deck. And join me in a second. We're going to take a look at some match footage.